can say. He says, it's not like I'm killing anybody. Not like I'm a mafia hitman. And what did the mafia hitman say? Well, it's not that I'm like Hitler, I only kill people that deserve it. And what did Hitler say? I don't know. But he said something, and he said the very same thing you're saying. He said something. It's the same thing. So those are the techniques. You can smother. So you can know something but not know it because you smother it with a technique. But underneath the technique. And we're not going to be able to heal it. Can't get to the healing until we see. Samuel presses that there's a dynamic going on under the techniques. And actually, let me put it to you this way. Have we said all along that what is it that triggers self-deception? We don't deceive ourselves about all truths, only about painful ones. And here's the question: why are some truths psychically painful? Why can't the father admit that his son's a thief? Why can't you admit that you drink too much? Why can't you admit that you're a cheat in business? Why can't you admit that you're a coward? Why can't we admit these things? Why are they so psychically painful that we have to totally repress them? And Samuel sticks his finger on it. It's amazing. He says, Saul, it's up in verse 17. He says, Saul, you were once small in your own eyes, but the Lord made you great. Now, why are you trying to make yourself great? You know, the key thing, I think, is in verse 12. In verse 12, Samuel, on the way, realizes that Saul has put up a monument in his honor. And actually, I can't go into this too long, but I can tell you this. It was, at the day, if you defeated a king, you never destroyed a king. You kept the king, because that made you a king of kings. It made you an emperor, not just a king. That's what the Assyrians did. They took the kings off. Look at all the kings. We're an empire. Saul desperately wanted to be included. He didn't want to just be king of Israel. He wanted to be a king that all the other kings saw. He wanted to be seen as one of the guys. He wanted to be a king of kings. He wanted empire. It was incredible. He had finally defeated a nation. How in the world could he let go this opportunity to become big and fat and wealthier? The ball was rolling. He says, I'm doing it for the Lord. And Samuel says, unmask yourself, Saul. Your problem is you think you're small. You think you're little. And you're trying to make yourself great. Don't you see that God, in His grace, will make you great? Don't you see that God, in His grace, has made you great? He chose you and made you. Though you were small, He made you king. And He anointed you. Now, Saul, your problem is this. You're going to the world to get something that God can only give you. You've rejected the grace of God. You're making yourself big. And as a result, there's some things that you cannot abide to see. Now, dear friends, this is the whole problem. We're sinners. We know we're small. We're all small in our own eyes. We know deep in our guts we're small. And the reason we do self-deception is this very thing. We find ways to try to hide from ourselves that we are sinners, that we're small, that we're inadequate, that we're flawed. And if any truth comes along to reveal to us the sinners we are, we can't abide by that because we have no alternative than make ourselves big. The father cannot stand to know that Johnny is a thief because the father's image of himself as a good father is the only thing he's got to save himself. This is the only way he can say, I'm not small, I'm not a nothing, I'm a father. And he can't live without that, so he must repress it. And the rock singer, you see, she's small in her own eyes. She feels the inadequacy. We all feel this way. So we find a strategy to make ourselves big, and anything that will get in the way of that, we have to repress. Don't you see? And therefore, Saul, you see what Samuel's coming along and saying is, do you realize that your rebellion is idolatry? Do you see the end? He says, you're saying to me, Saul, well, at least, his interest, remember I told you, the mafia man said, at least I'm not Hitler, and Michael Milken says, at least I'm not a mafia man, and so on. You notice what does Samuel do at the end? He says, don't you know that your rebellion Disobedience is the sin of divination. Arrogance is as the evil of idolatry. Here's Saul saying, I'm Orthodox. I go to church. It's not like I'm a witch. It's not like I'm into the occult. It's not like I'm an idol worshiper. And Samuel says, yes, you are, or you would not be in the situation you're in. You have gone to your idol. Worldly power. Father, you've gone to your idol. Your image of yourself as a perfect father. Rock singer, you've gone to your idol. Acceptance by the field that you and the peers that you respect. You have gone to your idol and you said, make me big. Because deep inside you're afraid you're small and you will let nothing get in the way of that. But Saul, don't you see, says Samuel. Don't you see? God in his grace will give you this. You don't need that. Now, in a sense, we've answered the last point. How do you heal?